correspondent Lara Afolayan joins us now for more on this development. Lara, it will be quite unprecedented if the Senate confirms Emefiele's appointment for a second term. But what are stakeholders saying about this? Do they consider this a confirmation of a job well done in the first term?
Of course, Godwin Emefiele was appointed the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria in June 2014. He was appointed by the Jonathan administration, and when the Buahri administration came in a year later, a school of thought felt that he would have been changed, even as the government was bringing in a new cabinet, but it wasn't changed. And some of the challenges that faced Emefiele as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria was the free fall of the naira to about 550 naira to a dollar, as a result of the excessive demand of the greenback. And even as the naira fell, there were excessive calls, from here and there for him to devalue the naira, to float the naira. But he didn't listen to all that. What he did rather was to introduce 41 list of items that would not be given foreign exchange to reduce the demand for the greenback. The Central Bank of Nigeria's governor also introduced initiatives such as having banks sell foreign exchange to customers for their BTAs, for their medical allowances, and their education, like school fees payments abroad. It also introduced an importer and exporter window so that prevailing circumstances in the foreign exchange market will determine the price of the greenback. And one major intervention that the Central Bank of Nigeria embarked upon, which has yielded positive results in the foreign exchange market, is its decision to begin injecting funds into the foreign exchange market. So far, from the reports we got from the Central Bank of Nigeria, over $48 billion have so far been injected into the foreign exchange market, and this has helped to push down the naira from an all-time high of 550 naira to about $360, which we see it hovering around today. Of course, the official exchange rate for the naira is 305 naira. And for some analysts, they say the federal government's decision to renominate Emefiele as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria is a positive one. Of course, before we saw the news of the letter being written by the president to the Senate for his of seeking his approval for a second term in office, before we saw that, of course, there had been news making the rounds of the fact that he may not come back as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And some of the stories we saw making the rounds was that there were so many potential candidates out there that were being put up for to succeed him as governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And of course, since Nigeria returned to democracy in 1999, we've not seen any governor being brought back for a second term. Emefiele will be the first one. His predecessors, talking about Joseph Sanusi, Lamido Sanusi, and Chukwu Masoludo, did one term each. So many people were not expecting that Godwin Emefiele will be coming back as the governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria. And of course, is the news of the president writing to the Senate to seek his reassumption back into office came to many as a surprise. And the surprise is weird of course. And what analysts are saying right now is that it's a good step in the right direction. They say issues of policy inconsistency has been a problem in the Nigerian space for a while, and it's good news to see that somebody who has served for a previous term is being brought back for a second term to finish what he started. Of course, they say the central bank governor's efforts, at pushing down the naira's fall against the dollar to the 360 naira that we see today. They say it's good news. They talk about the CBN's intervention in the agricultural sector, for example. Of course, we know the Central Bank of Nigeria introduced an Anchor Borers program, which is a backward integration program that gives some kind of funding to players in the rice production industry to reduce the importation of Thailand rice, for example, into the Nigerian economy. And from what we hear, this has yielded good results. We also saw the Nigerian government engage in some kind of currency swap with China. And this has also allowed the Chinese renminbi, it's now being traded in the foreign exchange market. China is one of Nigeria's biggest trading partners. And what the central bank wants to do, or what it aims to do, is that people who trade with China should now be allowed to buy this currency, the Chinese currency, so they could pay for whatever items they are importing with the Chinese currency and not having to depend on the dollar. And to the analysts, this has yielded good results. They say the central bank governor should be allowed to finish what he started. And what they are advising the government to do now is that they now want to see more synergy between the country's monetary authority.
I'm afraid we're just going to have to leave it there. We hope to see some positive impact on the economy and Emefiele's second coming.